Every Navy pilot knows there is one moment that scares even experienced veterans. It is not combat. It is landing a 30-ton jet on a runway barely 300 feet long, while the entire deck moves beneath you in the middle of the ocean. Sometimes at night, sometimes in bad weather, sometimes after hours of flying with almost no margin for error. One mistake can destroy a $70 million aircraft in seconds. And yet, Navy pilots do this over and over again for months at sea. But here's the strange part. Most people think the danger starts in the air. It does not. The real pressure begins long before the engines even start, because behind every launch is a system designed to push pilots to the absolute limit without allowing chaos to take over. A world built around precision, discipline, and constant evaluation, where even tiny mistakes can have massive consequences. So, what actually allows Navy pilots to operate under pressure that would overwhelm most people? An aircraft carrier never truly sleeps. Flight operations continue 24 hours a day for months at a time. While one group of jets launches from the bow, another returns to land only a few hundred feet away. Maintenance crews refuel aircraft, while weapons teams prepare the next mission. The carrier holds around 5,000 personnel. Nearly half belong to the air wing. Every person operates inside a system where timing is survival, and the flight deck itself is one of the most dangerous workplaces on Earth. Jet exhaust can throw crew members across the deck. One loose tool can destroy an engine instantly. Aircraft sit packed wingtip to wingtip, while deck crews move between them, wearing color-coded jerseys that identify their jobs. At first glance, it looks chaotic, but it is controlled chaos. Every movement is coordinated because one delay can affect the entire launch cycle. And for pilots, the day begins long before they touch the aircraft. 2 hours before launch, they enter the briefing room. And this is where the real mental workload starts. The briefing room is silent except for the flight lead. Every watch is synchronized to the exact second. Miss the briefing, and you do not fly. The mission is built piece by piece. Weather conditions, threat assessments, fuel calculations, emergency procedures, communication frequencies, backup plans if something fails. Pilots write constantly, because once they are airborne, there is no time to stop and think. Everything must already exist in memory. And ironically, this preparation matters more than raw flying skill. A pilot who reacts emotionally creates danger for everyone else in the air. After the briefing, pilots inspect aircraft logs from previous flights. Hydraulic issues, sensor malfunctions, engine write-ups. Most problems are minor, but every detail matters. Then comes fuel verification. An FA-18 Super Hornet can carry more than 14,000 pounds of fuel internally. That weight changes catapult calculations dramatically. Too little launch power, and the aircraft could sink toward the ocean immediately after takeoff. Too much force damages the airframe. Everything must be exact. Then the pilot walks onto the flight deck. The noise hits first. Jet engines scream across the carrier while the deck vibrates underfoot. Pilots inspect the aircraft themselves, even after maintenance crews already cleared it. 2 sets of eyes, 2 confirmations, because out here, small mistakes become disasters very quickly. And the next part is where Navy aviation becomes completely different from normal flying. Climbing into the cockpit feels strangely isolated compared to the chaos outside. The canopy closes, instruments glow, harness locked, oxygen connected, flight controls checked. Outside, the deck crew positions the aircraft onto the catapult. And this is where most people underestimate what Navy pilots experience. Commercial aircraft use thousands of feet to accelerate gradually. Navy pilots go from 0 to around 165 miles per hour in only 2 seconds. The launch bar locks into the catapult shuttle. Steam pressure builds below the deck. The jet begins shaking violently as the pilot pushes the engines to full power. One final control check, then comes the salute. Not tradition, confirmation. The catapult officer points down the deck. A second later, the jet explodes forward. 4 Gs slam the pilot backward instantly. The carrier disappears beneath the aircraft, while ocean fills the windshield for a split second before the jet finally climbs. And strangely enough, experienced pilots often say, takeoff is the easy part, because once airborne, the workload never slows down. If you respect the level of precision these pilots operate under, write "salute" in the comments. At 20,000 feet, the aircraft carrier looks tiny, just a gray shape surrounded by open ocean. Inside the cockpit, however, the pilot's attention never stops moving. Fuel levels, radar contacts, navigation updates, engine temperatures, radio calls. Every few seconds, something demands attention. And one of the most stressful tasks comes during aerial refueling. The tanker aircraft appears ahead, while both aircraft travel over 300 miles per hour. The pilot carefully moves closer, matching speed and altitude perfectly. Now imagine trying to connect two moving objects together in turbulent air. The refueling probe inches toward the basket behind the tanker. Too aggressive, and the probe snaps. Too slow, and the aircraft drifts out of position. The basket connects. Fuel begins transferring. Thousands of pounds move into the aircraft within minutes, while both pilots maintain precise formation. But the mental strain keeps building. Pilots monitor weather changes, shifting fuel requirements, navigation routes, and potential threats simultaneously. During high-performance maneuvers, the body can experience G-forces strong enough to make vision fade. And this is where training becomes critical, because under stress, the body wants to panic. Navy pilots are trained to override that instinct completely, but there is still one challenge that separates naval aviators from almost everyone else: carrier landings, especially at night. Many Navy pilots say nighttime carrier landings are the most difficult thing they have ever done. At night, the ocean disappears completely. There are no city lights, no visible horizon, just darkness surrounding a moving runway smaller than many civilian airports. Pilots call it flying into a black hole. The aircraft approaches at roughly 150 miles per hour, while the carrier rises and falls with the waves. Landing signal officers monitor every second of the descent. The pilot searches for the Fresnel lens system, known as the meatball. If the glowing light drifts high or low, corrections must happen instantly. There is almost no room for error. The jet crosses the stern. The pilot keeps full power ready in case the tailhook misses the arresting wires. Missing the wire is called a bolter, and the aircraft must immediately launch back into the air for another attempt. Then, impact. The wheels slam onto the deck. The tailhook grabs a wire. The aircraft stops from 150 miles per hour to 0 in about 2 seconds. Every landing is graded, every mistake is recorded, and reaching this level takes years. The training pipeline begins with officer commissioning and strict physical standards. Future pilots complete aviation pre-flight indoctrination before moving into primary flight training and advanced tactical flying. Only a small percentage make it through, and even earning the wings of gold is only the beginning. Pilots still spend another year learning fleet aircraft before joining operational squadrons. Even then, training never stops. Simulators, briefings, debriefings, emergency drills. Everything is built around one idea: perfect execution under pressure. That is what makes Navy pilots special. Not just speed, not just skill, but the discipline to perform in an environment where hesitation can be fatal, mistakes are public, and pressure never truly disappears.